Mercenaries' usual rotation. Around once a month, one of them would go to the shelter to interact with the women and children who resided there and make sure all was well. The men also did odd jobs and taught the women personal safety. First Hope was a transition shelter where women could live until they found affordable housing, got a job, and basically got their feet under them again after whatever life situation had landed them there in the first place. Loretta Royster, the building owner and shelter director, did what she could to keep everyone safe. Black knew Harlow from high school. It was crazy that they'd both ended up in Colorado Springs after growing up in Kansas. She was a year younger than him, but they'd been in the yearbook club together his senior year. Seeing her at the shelter was a surprise. She'd just been hired on as the chef. She'd told him a month ago that she was being harassed, and she had inquired about a gun safety class for herself. Black had mentally vowed to call her if she didn't get in touch with him, but he hadn't. He regretted that now. In his defense, he sort of figured that her not calling meant the harassment had stopped. That wasn't a good excuse, however. He should have followed up, and not just because he'd been intrigued by seeing a woman he knew from his past.
"The situation has changed?"
he asked.
"In what way?"
"Well, when I saw you last, I was the only one the men were harassing, but it's now come to my attention that it's everyone."
"What do the cops say? You have been to the cops, right?"
"Of course," Harlow said with a huff. "I'm not an idiot. Loretta has talked to them several times, but since the guys haven't actually done anything to us, there's not much they can do." Black was confused.
"Then what are they doing?"
"Stupid stuff. Catcalling when any of the women come and go from the building. They sometimes follow us to the parking lot when we leave. They haven't put their hands on us or come very close, but they're there, watching, mocking us. Things like that. It's freaking out the women and kids, and I hate to see everyone so upset."
"Of course I'll help,"
Black reassured her.
"Do you know the men who are bothering you?"
"No. They're young, like late teens or early 20s. They hang around the neighborhood. I don't think they care that we see them because technically they're not doing anything illegal. But they hang out in that new park down the street from the building or outside the tattoo shop across the street. The residents don't want to go outside by themselves, and they won't let their kids play at the park either."
"You working at the shelter this afternoon?"
"Today?" Harlow asked in surprise.
"Yeah, Harl, today."
"Well, yeah. At least until around 4. Zoe comes in then."
"Zoe?"
"The other cook. Loretta hired her about a week after me. When I'm not here, she is, and vice versa. That way all the meals for the residents are covered," Harlow explained.
"She being harassed too?"
Black asked. "Yeah, everyone is. And it's weird because Zoe is 60. She doesn't look it, not with her pink hair and all, but I don't understand why those punks are picking on all of us. Loretta thinks it could be one of the residents' exes who maybe hired them, but since they aren't hurting us or destroying property, the cops won't look into it, and so we have no way of finding out." Black's heart rate increased. The more she told him about the situation, the more concerned he got. "Anyway," Harlow went on, "I think maybe meeting with you again and being able to ask more questions and having you show everyone some basic things they can do to protect themselves will give them more confidence." Black looked at his watch and said,
"I'll be there in an hour."
There was silence on the phone for a moment before Harlow asked, "Seriously?"
"Seriously."
"I didn't mean, you don't have to come today, you said to call if I felt uneasy."
"Right. And you called me because you aren't comfortable with the situation, and I can do something about it."
Black would do something about it, all right. He would have told Harlow he'd be there in 30 minutes, except he needed to call Rex and inform him of what was going on. He also needed to call Meat, their resident computer expert. Meat could start looking into the ex-husbands and boyfriends of the shelter's residents. Black knew he was probably going overboard, that maybe the punks had no connection to anyone and were just getting their kicks scaring the residents at the shelter, but he didn't think so. The building wasn't in the best part of the city, but it wasn't the worst either. Colorado Springs was putting some money into the area, including tax breaks for businesses who opened up there and incentives to develop.